Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. It's actually early good afternoon to you. Because of our enforced inactivity, we are at home a lot more these days, which is good and bad. We can overlook the pool work going on, and we've already done an update on that. We're very excited about how it's going. But I really wanted to talk to you about baby Faith. And we are in touch with Marisol, who is baby Faith's mother. It's a very emotive situation, very emotional, because nothing tugs at the heartstrings like a small child who's struggling for her life. Well, Marisol is up in Tagbilaran, and she has reported back. We're in touch on the iPhone, on the smartphone, and she gets back to us and she tells us what's happening. Well, the latest that we've had, which has just come in, is that there is no further surgical procedures needed for baby Faith. We are in their hands. Okay, there's no point in saying it any otherwise. The surgeon that we saw when we went is the one that we saw for Dennis. He made his diagnosis. He looked at the tests, and he said what had to be done, and he did the operation, and Dennis is doing great. Now, I believe it's the same surgeon who has seen baby Faith. He was caring, but efficient, and I got the impression that he really knew his job. So most of these surgeons have trained probably in America, or maybe in the UK, but America is a difficult one to have qualifications accepted, so most of them go and work there. And they do their training there, usually, I don't know, something like 7 or 10 years of training. So this man is highly trained. Now, he has said that there's no further procedure that can make any difference to baby Faith's condition. So he's looked, he will have done something, I would hope, and has made some prescriptions. We won't know exactly what is happening until we see Marisol and we look at Faith and see how she's doing. I hope to God that she's doing better than the last time that we were there. So that's what is going on there. I'll give you an update on our situation with our disappointment. We know very well that there are other ways to handle this, and the little video that I did a few days ago or yesterday about how you try to get things done in the Philippines, and you try to do it, if you have any sense in my mind, you try to do it without leaving a trail of broken, bleeding bodies. That's just an expression, okay? If you go around and you make a lot of enemies in everything that you do, you will not be a happy person. You will not be a successful member of this society and this culture. Now, we've had various challenges where we've had to go in and deal with some very difficult situations. And usually the difficulty is in the difference between my response to something as a foreigner, and I'm a fairly laid-back foreigner, okay? I don't usually go in, with all guns blasting into any situation. I try to be fairly laid back and try to be tolerant and understanding. So I'm not your typical foreigner, and I'm here trying to learn, okay? There is a secret here that expats don't seem to be able to understand, and that is that people in spite of all of the deprivation, in spite of all of the poverty, in spite of all kinds of things, they reach a state of happiness and peace and contentment that I've never found in the West. So that makes me the student and not the teacher. Now, with our big challenge on our dealing with government bodies, we've had several different messages from people who clearly have had a great deal of experience, and we know that they know what they're talking about, and they're actually giving us the benefit of real experience. But one of the things that reveals itself every time with our, meaning expats, way of dealing things is that we don't care the damage that we leave behind. In other words, you go in and like in the case of the worker that I mentioned that we'd had recently, and we could have gone in and said, I'm sorry, you're just not fast enough, we'll have to replace you with somebody else. Somebody said, go, don't even think about it. You're going to have bad feeling wherever you go. Neighbours are neighbours, and they'll be disappointed, sure, and they'll get over it. Do what you have to do. And that attitude is one that, for me, doesn't work. It's not my way to go in and not care what you're doing to the people that you are dealing with. Now, why would you not care about the damage that you do to the people that you actually are surrounded by? Who ever heard of being happy whilst in the midst of unhappy people? Who ever heard of being at peace when the resentment that he's caused is beyond repair, except by the passage of a lot of time? Now, if I had gone in as a Westerner in the West, supposing I had been at home in either America or the UK, and if I'd gone in and an attorney who had apparently, supposedly been working for me on a very important case where I had repeatedly told him, we are under pressure, please prioritize this job, and we were well up front with the money that we gave him, more than probably anybody else would have done. Now, I'd have gone in like Dirty Harry and said, you did what? So you've been jerking me around and the money? No, I'm not going to wait until Friday until you get yourself together. Get me the money now. I'll be back in 15 minutes. I could have gone in like that and spitting bullets. And what would it have achieved? All it would have achieved would be to confirm in that man's mind that he would never work for any foreigner again. I went in just around the corner to the attorney's place in about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, and while I was working on the house that we built, I got some flecks of metal in my eye. It was excruciating, believe me. And I went to an eye specialist that had his office just around the corner from the attorney. And he was very, very kind and saw me straight away, put me on the machine so that he could look into the eye. And he said, yes, you have several tiny pieces of metal in there and it's going to have to come out. It's embedded in the eye and it will not just come out. You'll have to have it taken out. So we're there. So I said, well, can you do it? Well, in his own language, he spoke to Beth and he said, look, I could do it. I'm skilled and able to do that. It's not an incredibly difficult job. It can be done. But your husband is a foreigner. And with a foreigner, I know from experience that if there's any trouble at all, there's going to be hell to play. I'm paraphrasing this, of course, now. So he wouldn't do it. He would not risk his standing and his financial status as well by treating a foreigner who could turn bad. Oh yes, I was a nice guy and he liked me and all of that, and wow, yeah, he thought that that was a treat. But he wouldn't take that chance. Now, I've seen it on other expat sites that professional people will think twice before they treat a foreigner, because, as this man said, he said, the problem is, he said, if this happened with a Filipino, they would talk about it and they would understand, and they would not have the wherewithal to be able to take me to court and take a case against me. He said, but a foreigner has and will. So, sorry. And he recommended the place where we could go and get it taken care of, and we did. Meanwhile, I had another 24 hours of intense discomfort and pain. Back to the attorney. We could have gone there, and yes, I could have done a Dirty Harry, and I could have been in there spitting bullets and just taking it out on him, making myself feel better, venting. You should be a disgrace, you're a professional man, all of these things, and it would have been valid and perhaps even understandable. It wouldn't have helped at all. So, on to our present situation now. Now, straight away, up stands our friend Jam from the Village of Hope orphanage. And she calmly comes in and she helps us to go through what the requirements are. You need this, you need that, you're going to need so many board members. She was going to stand as one of the board members. You can have one board member do 2 jobs so you can fill different posts. And she told us calmly what we need. And she also introduced us to Anna. And Anna is what she calls her liaison. And Anna is a savvy lady with a college education, and she is a mother of 4 children, married, 4 children, and earning a living by doing what she needs to be able to do for Jam. So if there's any legal aspects to be handled, Jam knows that she can send Anna along with the various documents and an authorization, and not only will she go and do it post haste, she will report back and say what has happened. So, we are introduced to Anna, we get the paperwork together while Jam goes off on a mission to Manila. She's still in touch with us. We can ask her questions. She's there for us, a good friend. Anna is doing the job that she's required to do, and if she gets in difficulty and she needs a decision, she gets back to us. This is what we had really expected with an attorney. So, we have a win-win situation, we feel, in that we can depend on Anna to do what she needs to do and to get back to us if there is a decision to be made. And we have our friend Jam from the Village of Hope, who is there for us at the end of the internet, at the end of a line, to say what we should do next if we're unsure. Now, people are coming forward through various horror stories. This is how it is in the Philippines, this is how it goes. It may take months, or somebody said even years, as if we really want to hear that. So it could take years. Now, they're talking about, I have no personal experience of watching the work of Raffy Tulfo, but apparently he is, or he, I don't know, is it one person or 2 persons, because I also heard the name Ben Tulfo. And apparently they, the impression I get is that they are the dirty, if there's two, they are the dirty Harrys of troubleshooting for people who need help and cannot get their way through the bureaucracy, which certainly would, at the first glance, would be a good description of us, wouldn't it? We're trying to do the right thing, trying to help people. It's a disgrace to think that rules would come in the way of helping, say, baby Faith. Wouldn't that be disgraceful if anything happened there, and because of dealing with one dirtbag who, so far as I know, has failed even to be expected to reveal his identity. So he may actually, all of this may have been caused by someone who doesn't actually exist. He exists over there. And if ever the time comes when he is to be held accountable, if he doesn't exist, he will simply disappear in smoke and mirrors. That's what will happen. So, we're not prepared at this time to go to Raffy Tulfo and have him lock and load and then start shooting. We're not prepared to do that, and I'll tell you why. It doesn't make sense to us right now. We are in a situation where we are on a small island, and the people of the government have faces and names. Now, via JAM, we have been told that the powers that be that we are being held accountable to are indeed sorry for what is happening. Now, this is the unfortunate thing, is that with government bodies, if anything happens, they can be held and will be held accountable, and their jobs are incredibly important to them. To me, it just seemed like nobody gave a crap. Sorry, that's how it seemed. And nobody seemed really interested in going and having a look at the family who are living in what will be the site of House 32. Nobody seemed to be interested in the plight of, say, Dennis, who had lost his leg, was in a hospital up in Tagbilaran and needed to get home. That's how it seemed. But what is actually happening is that people are sorry, but they're tied by the same, I don't know, they're locked up in the same handcuffs as we are. So, should we go to Raffy Tulfo, and then we'll get some broken bleeding bodies around, we will have gotten our way, and we will be the hated ones. Can't do it. I just can't do it right now. If it gets to a point where it's just so stupid, then we may have to do that. But right now, it seems like we are going through the process. We have gathered photo after photo after photo, copy after copy after copy. We have a sheaf of photocopies of all of the work, not even all of the work that we have done in the last 18 months to help the needy, the helpless, the less fortunate, the poverty-stricken, the sick, all of that we have got records of. And we've got records of every receipt that we ever paid anything for. That's always been our situation. That's always been our transparency. So we're ready for any investigation or audit or anything like that. It won't be pleasant. We'll do what we have to do. Meantime, even if we are being audited but we have a license, we'll be able to do our work. So we'll handle it. Okay? So Raffy Tulfo, somewhere down the road. I admire the work of anybody who is able to go in guns blazing and get real action on the way where there is none. So, boy, just from what I've heard, I admire Raffy Tulfo and however many there are of him. But right now we're not inclined to do that. So that's our update. Everything is in motion. We are handling things, and we have somebody who has been through this before, and they are trustworthy and loyal, and we're paying them for what they do, so they're not doing anything for nothing. This is their living, and they're going to do it. So we will give you an update both on our legal aspect and on baby Faith, which we are hopeful that because the surgeon has said no further surgery is needed, we're looking forward to finding out what has happened and if things have improved. That will be the thing. If the surgeon has said there's no action as far as surgery goes is needed, what else has he said will have to be done? That shunt, or maybe another shunt. Maybe there are two. There's one which is semi-permanent and one which is put in to bring down that swelling fairly quickly. Let's hold fire on any judgment until we find out what's happening. As soon as Marisol arrives home with baby Faith, we'll be round there having a look at what's going on, and we'll let you know. Thanks for looking in. We are a foreigner in the Philippines, Beth and I. Thank you for all your support. It's incredible and it helps us. One of our subs said, I don't know how you walk the tightrope. I don't think I could. Well, we take it one day at a time. And all of your goodwill helps. So keep on commenting, liking, subscribing, especially subscribing. We're now almost at 46,000. We're going up fast. 30 and 36. I'm sorry, 36. There we are. I'm on the tightrope. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.